Hey guys, this is a video on help for your PFA called Linear Equations and Linear Systems. So here's what's going to happen. These are some examples from your PFA. So sometimes it asks you like, what's the x coordinate? What's the y coordinate? Or what makes this true? Or what's the solution to the following equation? Okay, so what we're going to do is, remember, we're going to use the substitution method. So here's my first and second equation. I know that one of these is in y equals mx plus b form, which is this one right here. So if I at least have one equation in y equals mx plus b form, what I can do is take whatever that letter is, so y, right? So y we already know, which is equals 7x. So anywhere that I see a y in my first equation, I'm going to take this 7x and plug it right in for y. So that means I'm going to have negative 5x plus a 2, parentheses, always add your parentheses because we're putting a number in for y, 7x, end your parentheses, equals 9. So what you're going to do now is distribute. So you're going to distribute this 2 to the positive 7. What is 2 times 7? 14. So I have 14x. I didn't do anything to this negative 5, so I'm just going to bring it down. And I didn't do anything to this positive 9, so I'm just going to bring it straight down. And now I'm going to combine my x's, so if I owe you $5 and I give you 14, how much money should you be giving me back? $9, of course. So I have 9x equals 9. In order to get the x by itself, all I need to do is divide whatever's attached to the x, which so happens to be a 9. So I'm going to divide both sides by 9, and I get x equals 1. So there's my solution to x. So x equals 1. So now if I wanted to figure out what y actually equaled, like where it hit, so this is where it hits my x-axis at 1. Where it's going to hit my y-axis is what I'm going to find out now. So what I'm going to do is take this 1, and I'm actually going to plug it back into an easier equation to figure out what x is instantly. So which one do you think would be easier to plug in 1 to for x? The second one, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 1, and you can honestly plug it into whichever equation. I just prefer to get the answer a lot faster and not have to subtract it or anything like that. So I'm actually going to take this 1 and plug it in for this x. So I have y equals 7 times a 1, which is just what? 7. So my y equals 7. So that's where it hits my y-axis. So when you see problems like this that say what is the x-coordinate to the solution, or what's the y-coordinate, or a or b or q or whatever, you're trying to figure out what that one is. So if I was going to say what is my x-coordinate, I would choose the answer that would have 1. So let's do a second problem and a third one just to show you how it's done. Okay? So again, what I'm going to do is, let's see. This second equation here would be a lot easier to get into y equals mx plus b form, and I wouldn't have any fractions. So the reason why I wouldn't have any fractions, or how I can tell, is look, does 15 and 31 and 3 all go into the same number? No, you could try to fit them, but you're at some point going to get a fraction. So I'm going to take this second equation here, and I'm going to get rid of this 3 here in order to get y by itself. So I'm going to subtract 3 to both sides. Oops, can't combine those. So now what I'm left with is negative y equals x plus a minus 3, because this x is positive. So what's the last step? The y is not divided by itself at all, like at all. There's a negative 1 right there. So what I need to do is divide by negative 1 to everything. So now my equation is going to be y equals negative divided by a positive is a negative. So I have a negative x, negative 1x. A negative divided by a positive is a positive. So I have y equals negative x plus a 3, or 3 minus x equals y. Okay, so now I can easily take what my y equals, which is a negative x and a 3, and I'm going to take it and plug it into my first equation wherever there's a y, which is going to be right here next to this 31. So I have 15x plus 31, parentheses, because I'm going to put whatever y equals in right here, 3 minus x, close my parentheses, and write the rest. Y equals negative 3. So now distribute. Make sure you distribute the 31 to the 3 and to the negative x. Okay, so 3 times 31, if you didn't know, is going to be 93. So a positive and a positive is a positive, so I'm going to have 93. And I didn't do anything to this 15, so I'll bring it down as I go. What's a negative times a positive? A negative. What's 31 times x? Negative 31x. Equals, did I do anything to that negative 3? Absolutely not. Okay, on my left side here, I can combine my x's, right? So I'm going to combine my x's here, and I'm actually going to have 15x minus a 31x, which is going to give me a negative number. I'm going to get negative 16x plus my 93 equals a negative 3. So now I need to get rid of my 93 because I want negative 16x by itself so I can divide. So I'm going to subtract 93 to both sides. Both of these are negative, so it's going to become more negative, and I'm actually going to get 96. I'm going to bring down my negative 16x, and what's the last part? To divide by negative 16. So negative divided by a negative is going to be a positive, and 96 divided by a 16 is actually going to be a 6. So when it says what is my x coordinate or my x value, anything like that, you're going to say 6. And then what's going to happen now is I'm actually going to take that 6 and plug it back into my original y equals negative x plus 3. So what I'm going to do, take this positive 6, plug it on in. So I have y equals a negative 6 plus 3. If I owe you $6 and I only give you 3, I still owe you $3. So my y is going to be negative 3. All right, let's do the last one real quick. Same process here. So remember, make sure one of the equations in y equals mx plus b form, which in this case, this is my y. And sometimes it always won't be the second equation you plug into the first. This just happens to work out that we're going to plug the first into this, or the second into the first. So I'm going to take this y, which is x minus 2, and plug it in. So I have 10x minus 9, parentheses, x minus 2. Because remember, y is a placeholder as well as x, so I'm just plugging in what I know or what I solved. All right? So then equals 24. So now what I'm going to do is distribute this negative 9 to this x, and the negative 9 to the negative 2. So a positive times a negative is a negative. So 9 times x is just going to be negative 9x. And negative 9 times a negative 2, well, negative and a negative equal a positive. 9 times 2 is 18. Now I didn't do anything else to the rest of the 24 or the 10x, so I'm just going to bring them straight down. Now combine like terms. 10x minus 9x is just going to leave me with just 1x or just an x. You're going to bring down the plus 18 and the equals 24. In order to get x by itself, all you need to do is to subtract 18. 24 minus an 18 is going to give me a 6. These 18s cancel, so my x actually equals 6. So when it asks what's my x coordinate, you can say 6. And then for my y, let's see where they hit each other. I'm going to do the same exact thing I've been doing. If I know one number, I can plug it in for that number. Or sorry, if I know one of the numbers for my variables, I can plug it in. So I have y equals a 6 minus 2, which is just going to be 4. So these are both going to intercept at 6, 4. All right, same thing with the other one. It's going to intercept at 1, 7. The other equation, 6, negative 3, if you graphed them. Hopefully this helps. If you are still struggling, I'll make another video about the first part of the checkpoint, which would be the solving one variable linear equations. This is objective 2, which in fact is solving systems of equation by graphing, algebraic, or inspection. All right, so hopefully this helps solve up and clear up some miscommunications. Remember, distributive property means I'm plugging them into each other. If you're still struggling, set them both into y equals mx plus b form and see if that works. All right, have a great day and make sure that you are keeping up with your PFAs.